Now, the possibility of a month-long ceasefire by Israel and Hamas seems to be more imminent. This comes as Qatar, the United States and Egypt are trying to mediate between both sides. Here's a report.
Israel and Hamas have moved closer to agreeing on a 30-day ceasefire in Gaza and the release of Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners. Qatar, the US and Egypt have been mediating between the two sides for weeks over the release of Israeli captives in return for a break in fighting, the release of Palestinian prisoners and more aid to the enclave. But the plan is being held up, the sources said, with Hamas and Israel at odds over how to permanently end the Gaza war. US, Qatari and Egyptian authorities did not immediately respond to requests for comment on the Reuters report. Though on Tuesday, the White House did confirm that Middle East envoy Brett McGurk was in Cairo for active talks over hostage release and aid, while declining to comment on reports of any ceasefire deal.
Certainly one of the things he's in the region talking about is the potential for another hostage deal, which would require a humanitarian pause of some length to get that done.
Two Egyptian security sources said there was work underway to convince Hamas to accept a one-month truce to be followed by a permanent ceasefire. However, Hamas is requesting guarantees that the permanent ceasefire would be carried out to agree to the initial truce. An Israeli government spokesperson said Tuesday the country's goals of destroying Hamas's governing and military capabilities remain the same.
There will be no ceasefire that leaves the hostages in Gaza and Hamas in power. Beyond that, we have nothing to elaborate.
Still, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is under increasing pressure to reach a ceasefire deal from his war cabinet and families of hostages. Despite the difficulty of bridging the gap in the positions of the two sides, a source briefed on the discussions told Reuters a deal could be agreed to at any minute.
And for the very latest on this situation in Israel and Gaza, our correspondent Jody Cohen has sent us this report.
According to reports, Hamas and Israel have broadly agreed to key principles of a hostage release deal. These would include a one-month pause in the fighting, the early release of a number of Palestinian security prisoners, and the freeing of a number of Israeli hostages. In the latest, an Israeli official has said that there has been no breakthrough in the negotiations and that they will take time. In the meantime, mediation efforts continue. This is Jody Cohen for WION, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.